Hey, good morning everybody, and especially to a fellow, I guess you could say viewer and subscriber, I guess you can say if he is, TheEzekiel300. Now Ezekiel, I have about 15 minutes to do this, so I apologize because I'm back on the 15-minute limit. I don't know why. Hopefully it's only temporary. But Ezekiel, look, I understand how you feel about what has happened with certain characters under the pens of different writers. I totally get where you're coming from. I mean, when you talk about Sally being desecrated or written out of character or destroyed character-wise by the likes of Ken and Carl, hey, I'm totally with you on it, okay? You know, I'm totally with you on it because that's your opinion, and if you and you're entitled to it. We're all entitled to our opinions. And if you feel Ken and Carl are the reason Sally was out of character, and you believe as a fan that Ian has done right by her, then that's your opinion. I'm not taking that away from you. I'm not trying to say you don't have a right to say what you want to say, because you do. Now I know one of the things that's really been getting at you is the fact that it seems that even though I have come out numerous times on YouTube, either through audios, videos like this, non-HD videos, web videos, you know, videos where I have things like this in front while I'm talking in the background. I understand that perhaps in those videos you feel that even though I have said on numerous occasions that I'm in the middle, that it may not seem like I'm in the middle. That it may not seem like I'm trying to, you know, equal out, show equality to both sides of the fan base. And you know, you have a right to say that. You have a right to say that because it may not seem, because when, I guess from your perspective, not mine, but from your perspective, and anybody else's perspective, it may sound like I'm against what's going on in the comic. But here's the thing. When I read off reviews from Dan Dreisen, when I read off rants from Volker, when I read off reviews and rants from people like Sage and Laser, who's known as Jonathan83X here, I believe. When I read off stuff like that, I can't help it if most of what I see sometimes is negative. I mean, Ezekiel, look at it this way. You go to Ian's forums, and yeah, you'll probably see a lot of people that support Ian, and that's great. They want to support Ian, that's their opinion. They have a right to do that. They feel he's doing a great job, hey, they have a right to believe that. But if you notice sometimes at Ian's forums, there are also some people that are in the same category as Jonathan83X, Laser, if you will, Game Boy Sage, and a few others, that feel Ian's not doing a good job. And just like you having your right in opinion to believe he is, you know, they have a right in opinion to believe that he's not. And again, when I read off the rant or read off what they have to say, either it's a review or a rant or whatever, I'm just sharing the side of how they feel. Now, as you have noticed, I have proven that I can show equality to other people. It may not seem as much as I do on the other side, and I apologize for that. But when I read both skunks' reviews, hey, I showed that even I can show favor. I can not show favor, but even basically I showed that I'm not as biased as you said. That I am indeed, that basically I am indeed in the middle. And again, I apologize if it doesn't seem like that because of the stuff I read and some of the stuff I talk about. You know, and again, I apologize to you, Ezekiel, and anybody else that believes that. And anybody else that sees it that way. But all I'm doing is just sharing the rants of sharing other people's opinions. And I can't help it if I go to DeviantArt, if I go to some of the Sonic forums out there. I can't help it if I go to Dan Dreisen's site and and the recent reviews of Sonic Universe and the main comic have been either kind of borderlining between good and bad. You know, I can't help that. All I'm doing is sharing other people's opinions. That's all I'm doing. You know, I will admit, and you know this very well, I've come out and I've said this numerous times and I'll say it again. The reason I have not opened any of the issues lately isn't because I hate what Ian's done. No. One thing, you see, one of the things I want to do is I want to give Ian the chance to really prove to me and to anybody else that he can do a great job. And I believe he can. I truly believe he can. I mean, he's given us some interesting stories. Don't get me wrong about that. I remember when he first started, he gave us some very interesting stories. I remember when he gave us the Urachak story in the main comic. I remember when he gave us the Journey to the East subplot to the Iron Dominion. You know, he's given us some great stories. I mean, when he did the Iron Dominion arc, I thought it was okay, even though some people thought it didn't really accomplish much, except establish that there's more than just Eggman as a villain and threat. But to me, he has done some great stories. Don't get me wrong about that. But if he's saying that this one right now is his big one, is his baby, this is his, as some people would say, his equivalent to an endgame saga, his equivalent to trying to be one of the best arcs and sagas any comic book adaptation of a franchise has ever seen, then I'm willing to give him that chance. I am willing to, when it's all said and done, whether one part of the arc is done, whether the Mecha Sally arc is done in the next 2-3 months, or it's done in the next year or so, I am willing to give him the opportunity to prove to me that he has set out to accomplish his goal and has done that. Because my plan, Ezekiel, is real simple. I plan to take every issue, lay it down, if you will, or sit on this couch or this chair or wherever, and read every issue, even if it's like 2 a day or something, like 2 or 3 a day. Read every issue. Go by every summary I have read, and when the time is right, come to a conclusion. Just because I haven't opened the issues doesn't mean I'm against anything Ian's done. I want to give him a chance. I want to do that. Now, I agree that he has done some great things with the characters personality-wise. He has given us more of the characters being closely related to the Satayam selves, if you will, the Satayam personalities at times. I get that and I see it and I appreciate it, just like any other fan. But you see, the thing is, when you have Ian, in the eyes of many other fans, doing what he's doing with those characters, and in those fans' eyes, making room because they firmly believe he's doing it to make room for the game characters and put the spotlight on them, you can't help it if they're going to be angry. I mean, look, you've said you're a fan of Satayam, and so am I. I mean, I wouldn't be a fan of this show, I wouldn't be a fan of the show if I didn't believe that, if you will. If I didn't believe that these fans felt the way they did. I wouldn't believe that. I mean, I am a fan of this show, there's no doubt about it. I mean, I went out and bought this one and bought another copy of it that's still in its plastic wrapping from 5 years ago. So, if I'm willing to buy 2 copies, one I have for collection right now, and one for viewing, then, then you can't say that I'm not a fan of Satayam, because I am. And believe it or not, I know I'm kind of sounding like I'm rambling here, and I apologize, Ezekiel, but let me explain something. Being a fan of that, just like some other people are, or many fans are, like yourself, you would have to understand the reason why fans like myself, even though, like I said, I'm waiting it out, I'm willing to give him a chance to prove to me that the goal he's setting out to do, to make this arc, overall Death Egg, Mecha Sally arc, whatever, the biggest arc and saga in comic book history, or at least in comic book adaptation history of a franchise, then I'm willing to give him that chance. I'm willing, like I said, when it's all said and done, to lay out all the comics right in front of me, to lay them all out and read them 2 or 3 a day, and combine them with summaries just to get an overall feel to see whether he's accomplished that goal and has done a great job, or he's kind of done a mediocre job or not a good job. So I want to give him that opportunity. I want to do a huge overview of it. I do. That's my plan. You see, again though, I understand where you're coming from though. I understand where you're coming from when you say Ken Penders and Carl Bowlers ruined certain characters' personalities. I can understand how you feel about Ken Penders taking Scourge when he was anti-Sonic or evil Sonic, having him impersonate Sonic Prime, if you will, the real Sonic, and having him make out with Bunny and all that, and as you would put it, or as you look at it, rape Bunny or do whatever, or make out session, whatever you want to call it with her. I get that. And I know that that also spills over to like a couple of issues, a few issues later, after the real Sonic rescues Bunny from Adam, if you will, from being absorbed by Adam, and he gets a kiss from her. It's like, you know, I understand where you're coming from with that, Ezekiel. I do. I really do. But the thing is, you know, but the thing is, that's your opinion. If you feel like that Ken desecrated Sonic's character by doing that, and Bunny's character and so on, because he did that, that's your opinion. And I'm sure that's the same opinion of many others. I'm not denying that. And when you say that he desecrated Sally's character, that's your opinion. You have a right to it, just like everybody else feels if they feel the same way, have a right to it. I mean, I'll give you this. I'll give you credit here. I will give you huge credit here. 134. I'll never forget it. The slap. Let's not forget one thing. Let's make something perfectly clear, Ezekiel. That story was written by Carl Bowlers, I believe. Carl Bowlers was the one that initiated that slap. He's the one that wrote the story where she slapped him, and Ken Penders had to work around that, because that's not initially what Ken wanted, despite how you feel about what he did later, and currently what he's doing outside of the comics now. From what I understand, Ken never wanted that to happen, but Carl initialized it. And I agree, maybe it wasn't the best idea, but I think what Carl was trying to do was bring in an older audience. He was trying to bring in an audience that he knew he could bring in, but I will agree, he didn't have to go with slap. And I'm pretty sure a majority of the fan base would agree with that. But the thing is, Ezekiel, what I'm trying to say is everybody has their opinion, and all I'm doing through these videos is sharing each and every one of their opinions, even if most of the time it's negative. And yes, as I've said in many videos, because I am, and maybe I should put emphasis on this, because I am a Satayam fan and been a fan of Sonic since the beginning, and mostly because of this, you know, maybe one of the reasons I'm not opening the issues is not just because, like I mentioned earlier, I want to wait it out and give Ian the opportunity to prove to me that he's accomplished his goal and his goal that he set out to do, that he set out to accomplish, and that's make this the best story arc / saga in comic book adaptation of a franchise history. No, it's not just that. It's not just, like I said, I want to have the opportunity to look at all the issues when it's all said and done, combine it with the summaries if I can, and give an overall review on the entire arc and really see if he did good or not. But it's also because I'm so used to seeing Sally like this, if you will, seeing her like that, and not mechanized. I'm used to seeing her un-roboticized. I mean, I could tolerate, I'll be honest with you, I could tolerate reading issues for maybe 1 or 2 issues. I mean, reading a story for 1 or 2 issues where she's roboticized, and that's it. Or maybe 4 or 5. Or 4. Like, say, in a universe kind of deal. But I'm not used to her being in a long term like this. Hold on for a second. I have to stop this here, and I'll conclude in the next part.